All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really enjoyed that game between PSG and Bayern that, of course, was showing on our new sister station, Sporty TV. Hapo, of course, utakuwa unapata all the matches, of course, between TV47 and Sporty TV. All my sisters wetu wadogo. All right, so, of course, we have our show tonight on Say What. I hope you've been waiting for the show because, man, I've missed you. Boy, oh boy, I've missed my audience. And tonight we have a fantastic show, of course, the top stories. And we have a very interesting discussion. Now, I have a daughter who's probably watching. Ivana, how are you? Now, she's 11 years old, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have these small kids. And then there's TikTok. I love working Instagram. I love working Facebook. I love working Snapchat. I'm sure I could LinkedIn. You know what? So tonight we're really talking about children. You know, growth. How do you discipline them but still love them? How do you make them, you know, proper, confident, high self-esteemed individuals, but also making sure that they are on the straight and narrow? That's the discussion we'll be having tonight. Of course, we have Pastor Sue in the building. And tonight we have a new guest, Christabel Hawker, who's also a psychologist. It's going to be a fantastic show, obviously. Let's begin with the highlights. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has made serious allegations against President William Ruto, claiming that the head of state is deliberately sidelining the Mount Kenya community.
Out of the more than 400 people who have been arrested, 92% are people from this region. On trumped-up charges, no evidence, nothing.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has stated that the government led by President William Ruto, in collaboration with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, is implementing an all-inclusive agenda for all Kenyans.
Tumesema ile masaa tuko nayo tutakazana na bidii ya mchwa. We will do the best we can to support the development of Kenya.
According to Kindiki, the agenda aims to ensure that no Kenyan is left behind, regardless of region, religion, or gender. The Ministry of Health has launched a vaccination campaign against measles and typhoid fever in Nairobi County. All right, let's begin our coverage tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Nyamai. Now tonight, the United Opposition Coalition has opposed the construction of a church by President William Ruto in State House, saying the move is impeachable and against the law. Now, the opposition leaders who spoke during the burial of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's aunt in Nyeri said the move is unconstitutional since State House is public property as spelled out in the Constitution. And as Apollo Kamau reports, opposition leaders have revealed a guns attack plot during Monday's Sabasaba Day protests. Take a look.
President William Ruto's admission that indeed he is building a multi-billion church in State House, Nairobi, estimated to cost 1.2 billion shillings, has caused a nationwide uproar at a time Kenyans are struggling financially. The United Opposition Alliance, led by Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Martha Karua, saying the admission by the president is an impeachable offense, as State House is public property.
If you want to commit a constitutional, impeachable offense, then continue with this thinking, because Kenyans are able to see through this. Kwa mfano, kama unatumia pesa zako 1.2 billion, Wakenya wanajua mshahara wako ni 1.4 million or thereabouts. How many years would it take ukitumia mshahara wako, assuming you're using all of it, kujenga kanisa kwa Ikulu?
Hiyo mambo ya kujenga kanisa, State House si shamba lako. Enda ujenge kwako Karen, jenga kwako Sugoi, enda kwa kila kanisa iko na harambe wajenge. Na hiyo ya Kiambaa iko karibu na wewe, iko kwa hiyo area yako, anza na hiyo. Vile unawacha kanisa ya Kiambaa na unaenda kwa zingine, inatuambia story yako wewe.
Kama anapenda kujenga kanisa sana, si ile kanisa ilichomwa pale Kiambaa pamoja na watoto wajenge hiyo kwanza kabla kujenga hii State House. We don't have a problem if you like building churches. But since 2007, why don't you get a part of that 1.2 billion and go and rebuild the Kiambaa church that was touched with our children inside?
President Ruto has also been put on the spot for violating Chapter 8 of the Constitution, which states there should be no state religion.
Article 8 ka katiba yetu. In fact, the subheading, the subtitle is State and Religion. Now, is one of the shortest articles. There is no state religion. Bio tu.
Wewe ukijenga kanisa pale State House. Kanisa ni vizuri kujenga, hata mimi ningependa kujenga kanisa. Je, wale Waislamu utawajengea nini? Je, wale mabuddhist utawajengea nini?
Ruto is also on the spot for claiming he will use his own money to fund a project on public property, with the source of the funds which he claims he will use to construct the church being subjected to legal and public debate.
Ni kweli mimi najenga kanisa hapa State House. Nini mnanielewa?
Na hilo kanisa nalojenga huko asitudanganye, anatumia pesa za umma, si pesa zake. Na kama ni pesa zake, atuonyeshe alipata mapato gani baada ya kuuza kuku, si anajiita yeye ni mfugaji wa kuku.
Beside the State House church project, the opposition leaders claimed the government, starting today, is mobilizing goons to attack protesters and destroy public property during Monday's Sabasaba Day demos.
Saa hii tunaongea saa hii, wale goons ambaye wanapangwa kuja kuangaisha watu hapa Nyeri na huyu mjumbe hapa wanakutana pale Sunset Hotel Sagana. Mkutano unaendelea saa hii na polisi wako hapo na goons wanapanga vile watakuja kuchoma mali ya watu, alafu wakuje kushika watoto wetu kuwawekelea makosa.
Mount Kenya leaders led by Gachagua also protested what they said is President Ruto's campaign to allegedly persecute the region for withdrawing its support for the president. Apul Kamau, TV47.
All right, now allies of President William Ruto are now openly campaigning for his re-election in 2027, signaling that the race for the top seat is already gaining momentum. Now today, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and other Kenya Kwanza leaders rallied support in Likoni, Mombasa County, while sharply criticizing the opposition for allegedly fueling tribal divisions and lacking a clear agenda for the country. As Paul Kirobi now tells us, the leaders also oversaw an empowerment program aimed at boosting local livelihoods in the region.
Just 2 days before Kenya's mark Sabasaba, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, and a group of members of parliament toured Mombasa County to rally support for President William Ruto's 2027 re-election bid.
Mnataka ubaguzi ama mnataka umoja wa taifa? Mnataka ubaguzi ama mnataka umoja wa taifa? Tuendelee na kutafutia vijana ajira jameni. Tuendelee na kuondoa ubaguzi. Tuendelee kujenga barabara. Tuendelee kuleta bima ya afya. Tuendelee kusimama na biashara ndogo ndogo. Tuendelee tusiendelee.
Ni kwa misingi ya dini na misingi ya uchache wa kura zenu. Wakija hapa msiwachezee na kuwakatikia viuno mtukatikie sisi.
The ruling administration led by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki accusing the opposition of what he said is promoting divisive politics, tribalism and incitement. Kindiki claimed that the faction allied to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has nothing meaningful to offer Kenyans. The visit comes amid growing tension ahead of the Sabasaba Day, with the Gen Z movement planning nationwide protest. This as concerns over potential unrest keep rising. But away from the demos, Speaker Moses Wetangula Wetangula sought to reassure residents, saying Mombasa County is well represented in the Kenya Kwanza government. Traditionally, a stronghold for opposition leader Raila Odinga, the coast region now appears to be shifting, with President Ruto's administration aiming to gain a foothold through what it calls a broad-based inclusive government. Speaking at Jomvu Primary School in Jomvu constituency during a Women Economic Empowerment program, DP Kindiki criticized the former deputy president, accusing him and his allies of squandering opportunities while in office. He also condemned leaders who he said were sabotaging government initiatives, including the issuance of national identification cards. Kirobi, TV47.
Now, the Ministry of Health has launched a nationwide integrated vaccination campaign against measles, rubella and typhoid aimed at children aged 9 months to 14 years. Now, the launch event took place at Githogoro Grounds in Westlands, Nairobi, and comes in response to the recent surge in measles cases reported across the country. As Elizabeth Atieno now tells us, the campaign is expected to boost immunity among children and curb the spread of these preventable diseases.
The 14-day health drive targets children aged 9 months to 14 years and is aimed at protecting communities from life-threatening but preventable diseases.
A life-saving initiative that reinforces our national commitment in the protection of our children.
The country has reported nearly 3,000 measles cases between January 2024 to February 2025. This as the uptake of the second measles rubella dose remains low.
Why are we vaccinating? To reduce morbidity, sickness, to reduce mortality, death. That's why we are vaccinating. To reduce that endemicity. That's why we vaccinate.
The typhoid conjugate vaccine is said to offer strong protection for at least 4 years in just one dose.
Watu wa Nairobi mnajua wale wanaishi informal sector. Typhoid is a very serious problem.
So if somebody else comes and they want another vaccine, we shall refer them, to the stationary sites in the various public hospitals where these vaccines are normally given.
The vaccination campaign has equally kicked off in Machakos County, targeting 450,000 children within the next 10 days.
Na leo hii tumepata waathiriwa ambao pengine kwa jambo moja ama lingine wazazi wao hawakuwapeleka watoto wao kupata chanjo, na tumeona yale madhara wamepitia.
Parents have been urged to avail their children for vaccination. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
The Board of Management at the Nairobi Hospital has strongly dismissed claims suggesting that a political analyst and board member, Herman Manyora, has taken over the hospital's leadership. Now, the statement comes in response to circulating reports that allege a change in the hospital's management, causing public confusion and prompting a response from Manyora himself. Well, Willie Dennis Njeru has the full story.
I want to state clearly that I do remain as the chairman of the Board of Management. My name is Dr. Bakli Onyambu, and I was duly elected as the chairman of this board. We are aware that there are continued attempts to mislead the public through the press and other areas that there has been a change in the management of this board. The truth is that we have mechanisms of changing leadership at the board. We have seen in the press a day ago an article that appeared in one of the mainstream media section claiming that the chairmanship of this board and the Kenya Hospital Association had been taken over by one Mr. Herman Manyora. I want to state categorically that that is not true, and that is the attention that has been drawn to us. The reasons I don't know. I have no reason why to explain to you why somebody would go to the press and claim that they have arranged for a board meeting that has hosted a chairman. That is a preserve. It's known only to them. I don't know. I can't answer that on their behalf. We are an association like any other association that has members. The representation of leadership of the association is through an elective process. And when you have an elective process, there will always be politics and wrangling. And this is what has bedeviled the Nairobi Hospital. One of the key achievements, just to address your question, that we are making right now is to look at the articles of association that bind us together. We believe that if we strengthen those articles of association and state clear guidelines in those articles on how we manage our governance affairs, we will reduce these wrangles that cause us a lot of money in litigation and whatever. But as of the moment, we are at the helm of this organization, and we are leading it steadily towards achieving that aim. I have no reason to understand what the motives are. I can only imagine that if the right channels are not followed, those reasons cannot be noble. They can only be ulterior.
Thousands of genuinely qualified graduates in Kenya are missing out on job opportunities due to an alarming rise in the use of fake academic certificates, while only 2 to 3% of verified credentials turn out to be fraudulent. The figures still represent thousands of imposters taking jobs meant for qualified professionals to actually tackle the issue. All right, so let's have that story, of course, with regard to NEC moving in to fight the fakes. Take a look.
Basic Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok has revealed that within weeks, Kenyans will be able to verify and authenticate their education certificates from the comfort of their homes or offices.
And going forward from now, verification of certificates in NEC will be going digital.
Kenyans are now being urged to utilize the new system to check the authenticity of academic documents. They are also encouraged to report suspected fake certificates through government portals such as the Kenya National Qualifications Authority's KNQA anonymous reporting platform, helping authorities root out fraudsters.
If you want to verify your certificate from wherever you are, you can just get into a digital platform, verify your certificates, and we are starting with a pilot with the Public Service Commission for the public servants, and maybe later Ministry of Interior. And as we roll out to the entire government and the private sector.
Investigations by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC) and the Public Service Commission (PSC) recently uncovered shocking figures. Out of 53,000 certificates verified across 91 public institutions, about 1,280 were fake. This is as some government departments reported hundreds of employees with forged credentials. The alarming findings prompted the pilot of the new digital verification system, which uses advanced secure technology to ensure certificates are authentic and tamper-proof. It is estimated that roughly 1/3 of employees in Kenya are not properly qualified for their roles, many having used forged documents, sometimes with the collusion of corrupt recruitment panels. This widespread fraud not only threatens public safety, but also weakens service delivery across vital sectors. And in response, the government has launched a serious crackdown. Agencies including the EACC, PSC, NEC, and KNQA are working closely together. The digital verification platform is central to this effort, enabling rapid document authentication and making it much harder for fraudsters to succeed. Complementing this initiative is the Education Assessment Resource Center, EARC, established to enhance education assessment and inform better policy decisions.
With a major transition anticipated in January 2026, the center will provide several capacity building and professional development courses in competency-based assessment.
The new platform leverages Kenya's National Public Key Infrastructure, NPKI, to electronically verify certificates and make them tamper-proof, drastically reducing the risk of fraud. The infrastructure is a government-managed system that issues and manages digital certificates through licensed electronic certification service providers, that is ECSPS. These digital certificates act like encrypted digital signatures that confirm the authenticity and integrity of electronic documents, including academic certificates. Ruga Ival, TV47.
Thanks, Sugar, for that. All right, so you know what? We want to take a short commercial break just to have a short breather. But up ahead, we continue with our news coverage for the night. And up ahead again, of course, we have that very interesting discussion. You know, it's Say What Saturdays. And of course, we have Pastor Sue in the building. She looks great tonight. And we also have a new entrant to our discussions. We have a psychologist, Christabel Hooker. We are talking about children, man. There's TikTok, there's there's all sorts of social media coming up. How do you still have control of your kids? How they turn out, still fueling their self-esteem. That's more we're confident and of course being disciplined. All right. So let's take that break, but we're coming back shortly.
Also coming up after the break. In a world where little hearts face big emotions, how do we raise confident, independent kids who feel heard, loved, and understood? Well, tonight we unpack that. From discipline with empathy to building unshakable self-esteem, we explore the powerful connection between parenting styles, emotional support, and unlocking a child's true potential.
right, and welcome back to Say What? All right, let's just finish up with the news, then we can get into that very interesting discussion. And the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has denied any involvement in the controversial disappearance of blogger Ndiangui Kanyagia. Now, authorities now claim the blogger went into hiding and are accusing lawyers linked to the opposition of helping conceal his whereabouts. Now, 3 days since Ndiangui resurfaced, questions still remain about who was behind his disappearance and why he went underground. Samira Mohammed now unpacks this growing mystery.
Ndiangui Kanyagia is a shaken man. Some of those who have interacted with him since he resurfaced in court on Thursday and retreated to his parents' home in Kajiado County say he wears a disheveled look. On Friday, TV47 visited his parents' home, but upon arrival, we were denied access, with the family saying they need more time and cannot speak for security reasons. One cannot immediately tell if the man who had had the nation on the edge of what many believed was a state abduction carried out by officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation has any signs of torture, but his face tells of an ordeal, whether in police custody or self-imposed exile, which has disoriented him. And that has raised more questions than answers. Could he have been on the run to evade arrest, too afraid to land a fate similar to that of Albert Ojwang, a 31-year-old teacher who was killed in police custody? Did he choose to reappear after the matter got too serious? Or did he cut a deal with his abductors that saw him secure freedom? He's yet to open up about where he was and what might have gone through, not even to his close associates. On Wednesday night, Ndiangui contacted his cousin, a lawyer who then arranged for his appearance in court. Authorities alleged that DCI officers went to arrest him at his residence, but found he was not home at the time. However, the officers seized several items from the house, with the caretaker recording an inventory that included 2 laptops, 2 phones, both an old and a new passport. According to sources, Ndiangui was later traced to Kitengela, while the officers were searching for him. Authorities now accusing lawyers affiliated with the opposition of hiding the blogger for 13 days. Speculation has also been swirling on social media, while more questions than answers emerging. Among them, if he had been incommunicado all this time, where did he get the phone to call his cousin? If he had left his home, where exactly was he picked up that made him untraceable? The saga surrounding the disappearance has gripped the country for nearly 2 weeks. What began as a routine day on June 21st has since unfolded into a case marked by allegations of abduction, state intimidation, and digital repression, culminating in Ndiangui's eventful resurfacing in court on Thursday. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
And finally, the Karen Hospital Heart Run 2025 was held earlier today at the waterfront Karen. Thousands of participants from all ages took part in the annual event, as our reporter Tony Kwalanda now tells us.
Thousands of children, boys and girls, adults and the elderly converged at the waterfront Karen for the Karen Hospital Heart Run 2025 early Saturday morning.
The message for today is meant for the children that they should grow up as responsible adults, being concerned about other people's problems and helping other people. The purpose of this is to make children aware that it is good to help people who need the help.
Organized by the Heart to Heart Foundation, the event raises funds for children needing life-saving heart surgeries.
The purpose of this walk was to make sure that we raise money to be able to pay for the inputs, the heart valves, oxygenators, the medicines, and very many other inputs that go into giving a child a new lease of life.
Over 600 children have undergone successful surgeries since 1994, and over 500 teachers have been trained on how to support children with heart conditions.
We have been partners with Current Hospital since the last 8 years. We have had several activities together, actually since, and up to today, we have been moving hand in hand.
Mount Kenya University, through their foundation, were one of the main sponsors of the competition.
I come from Paula Junior School. I am 8 years old, and this is why I wanted to go for the heart-to-heart run.
We have come to help the children with heart problems. We would like to tell the others to come and join us.
And we have come to this run simply because we have heard of them suffering, and also we have some relatives who are also suffering, so we'd like to support them.
Tony Kwalanda, TV47, Karen.
Thank you very much, Tony Kwalanda. But I'm just a sana, Tony. All right, so you know what? Let's get into our discussion, of course, with the lovely ladies. Let me